Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing extremely well. First of all, thank you so much guys for joining in. My name is Kunal Makwana and I'm currently working as data scientist at IBM Skills Network. Today, I will walk you through a fascinating tool called YouTube Summarizer and Q&A bot that can summarize YouTube videos instantly and also helps us to answer the question about the video. So, if you have long videos in your watch list but don't have time to watch, no problem. We have a tool to cover you. So the agendas for this talk is first we will see the overview of an application, like what we will be building by the end of this talk and how our final outcome will look like. Then we will understand what's the importance of this tool and why we even need this. Then we will deep dive into the key concepts for building this application, followed by hands-on lab where we will be building it from scratch. And at the end, we'll be having a Q&A session where I will be answering to all your questions. Now, let's see the overview of an application. So, as the name suggests, this tool helps us summarize YouTube videos quickly. It turns long videos into clear, easy to understand summaries. Apart from that, it also helps us to ask specific question about the video. For example, if we are watching a YouTube video on how to make a chocolate cake and you have a question that what's the measurement of the chocolate. So for this question, you don't need to watch the entire video just to get the measurements. Instead, we can ask this question to the application and we can get the instant answer. For example, 100 gram, 200 gram. So eventually it will save a lot of time. Now let's see what we'll be building by the end of this session. So here I have included a short video. So this is the final UI of our application. So as we can see here, we have a placeholder for a YouTube video URL where we can give the URL of the YouTube video. Then here we have two buttons. So one for summarizing the video and one for asking a question. So let's see how it works. So let me just play the video. Just the moment, I need to switch the slides. Sorry for this. Let me just represent it again. Yeah, so looks good. So for demo, I have used the YouTube video from Mr. Beast. He's eating the world's largest slice of pizza. So let's see how it summarizes the video. So I have taken the URL of the YouTube video, paste it over here. Now I'm clicking on the summarize video in order to summarize it. Now let's wait and see how's the summary. So here we can see the summaries like Joey Chestnut, the world's fastest competitive eater, attempts to eat a massive 9-pound pizza slice in front of a group of friends, including Chris, and so on. Right? But I have already gone through this summary, so I know that they haven't mentioned the size of the pizza, right? So I'm curious that what's the size of the pizza. So let's ask this that question to the bot. So here I'm asking the question like, what is the size of the pizza? So let's see what it will respond. So here we are asking a question. It will take a couple of seconds just to answer our questions. So here we get the answer as the pizza is 6 feet and taller than the car, and it is the largest slice of pizza in the entire world. So we get it right. How it's easy to get the answer of the question. So now let's try asking another question. So here I tried asking the question based on timestamp, like at what time they have mentioned this information, just to check like whether it is correct or not. For example, we can use time-based queries. For example, you are watching a 1 hour tutorial on YouTube and you just need to know like what's the real world example of this application. So you can ask this query to the bot and they can like in the answer you can get the timestamp, like at this timestamp they have explained this example, so like we can directly jump to that time and get the answer. So let's see. So here we get the answer like the pizza is 6 feet taller than the car, and here at the bottom we also have the time. So at 0.24 seconds, they have mentioned like this is the world's largest pizza. At 3.36, they have mentioned like look how long it is, and at 4.77, they have mentioned like this pizza is literally 6 feet and taller than the car. So using this tool, we can also ask timestamp based queries. Now let's understand the importance of this tool. So Before the invention of this tool, imaging, you want to get a key insight for a specific YouTube video. Then, in that case, you need to watch an entire video just to get the key insights. So, this might be time consuming and even frustrating for us. Apart from that, it's also difficult to find specific information in long videos. As I already mentioned, that you are watching a 1 hour tutorial on YouTube and you just need to jump to the part where they are explaining the real world example, right? So, you can ask this kind of question to the bot and we can get the time and we can just jump to that time and start from that. So the benefits of this application is like we can get quick summaries, ask questions and get instant answers, and eventually it will save a lot of time for us. Now let's see the tech stack for building this application. So we are going to use Python as our main programming language, then LangChain. So LangChain is an open source LLM framework which will help us to interact with the language models. Means we can ask question to the language model like what is 2 plus 3, right? So we can ask this kind of questions to the language model with the programming. Then we'll be using Faiss. So Faiss is also an open source vector database powered by Facebook. So for now, just think that as of database to store the data. I will explain like what is vector database, what is similarity search in the following slides. Then we will use watsonx. Now, what is watsonx? So watsonx is a platform for hosting the language models, and we can like if you want to use any language model, for example, Llama, Mistral, or Granite, we can use it from the watsonx with the help of watsonx API. So we are going to use language model from watsonx. Then we are going to use Llama 3.2 for our application. So it's a language model like ChatGPT, which will help us to generate the summary and also helps us to answer the question of the user. Then we have a Gradio. So Gradio is also open source Python library, which will help us to build user interface easily and quickly. Now, let's see what we'll be learning in the session. So as of now, like our application have two functionalities, that is summarization and Q&A. So first we will deep dive into the summarization workflow, followed by the Q&A workflow. So the summarization workflow starts by getting the YouTube video URL. So once you get the video URL, you are going to extract the transcript. Means we are going to convert the video to the text so that we can use that text with our language model in order to perform summary, any kind of task that you want to do. So now let's see how to extract the transcript. So in order to do that, we will use YouTube transcript API. That is a Python library which will help us to fetch the transcript using video ID. Now you might have a question like, what is video ID? So video ID is 11 unique character string that is present in the video URL. So for this, I need to take a pen and I would like to explain what is this. So here at the image at the top, we have the video URL, and I also given the example of the URL. So after getting the URL, we are going to extract the video ID from it. So here in the URL, this is the video ID for the specific video. So we are going to extract the video ID, and then we will use that video ID with this YouTube transcript API to get the raw transcript. Now let's see the format of the transcript. So as we can see in the image, it's a list of the dictionaries, and we have a like each dictionary will have 3 keys, that is text, start, and duration. So text means the spoken words in that video. For example, like we are no strangers to love means they have spoken this word in that video. Now start. So start means the start time in the video, means at what time they have start speaking this sentence. Now and at the last we have a duration, means duration of the sentence in that video, means like they are speaking like we are no strangers to love at time 0, and the duration for the sentence is 3.5, and the same for the rest of them. Now then after extraction of the transcript, we will process the transcript. So I think like you might have heard that garbage in equals to garbage out. So like in terms of machine learning, if the quality of the data is not good, we are not going to get the good answers, right? So we are doing the same here, like we are processing the transcript in order to simplify the data. So here, as we can see in the raw transcript, we have the list of dictionaries, right? And each dictionary will have 3 keys over here. So what we are going to do is we will take each dictionary line by line, like we will iterate on this list and take the each dictionary, and then we will convert this dictionary to the text like this. So here the each dictionary will convert it to a one sentence, and eventually it will be a final string. So here we have taken text, and text is this one, and the start time for this text is 010. And you might have question like why we are not taking duration. So the thing is like the duration is not of use for a use case, but it's also depends on the uh, like on the problem that you are solving. So if you want to keep that duration, you can also try keeping it. Then the other reason is like it's improve readability. So as you can see here in the top image, it's not like I can't like I am not saying that it's not structured, it's structured, but on readable matrix is not good. So here we the text is very readable. Now the next step is to define the summarization prompt. Now what is prompt? So prompt is an input or instruction given to an AI model to guide its response. So for example, if I'm asking a question like what is Python, so this question is the prompt that I'm sending to the language model. Now so in order to summarize the transcript, we first need to define the prompt template in LangChain. Now let's understand what is prompt template. So prompt template is a structured way to define and format prompts dynamically. So here, as we can see, so this is the template for the summarization workflow. So here, like as we are using the Llama as our language model, each language model will have their tokens to identify like whether it's the start of the sentence or end of the sentence, right? So in Llama, this token specify indicates the beginning of the text, and here we are giving the system message. So what is system message? So this instruction help language model to recognize himself, like what they are, like what they are and what they need to do. So here I'm specifying that you are an AI assistant task with summarizing YouTube video transcript. Means generally I'm giving an role that you are expert at summarizing the transcript, right? And here I also given the instructions like what they need to follow in order to generate the transcript. Now and at the end, like now here we have a start header ID. So here in the between this header I'm defining user. So this will define like for example, if user is asking like give me the summary for this YouTube video, right? So this is the answer question, user's question that is going inside it. So here we have a transcript in the curly braces, means we can able to change this transcript dynamically. So apart from this, the all of the text is static, but the transcript we can change this dynamically. So whenever you get the process transcript, we will plug this process transcript over here, and then we will send that prompt to the language model. Then we will create the summary LLM chain. So here, as we can see in the image at the top, we have the process transcript. So after getting the process transcript, we are going to plug the transcript into the template, which I have seen show you before. So here we have a transcript, right? So we are going to plug in the process transcript here, and then at the end we will send it to the language model in order to generate the summary. So here we are sending the summarization prompt to the language model, and yeah, here's our summary. So this is the end of the summarization workflow. Let's go into the workflow of Q&A. So in Q&A workflow, it's also start from getting the video URL. After getting the video URL, we are extracting the transcript. Processing the transcript means the first three steps in both summarization and the Q&A workflow is same, but the things changes after this. So after processing of transcript, we will chunk the transcript. Now we will understand like what is chunking, why we are doing it. So what is chunking? So chunking is a technique which helps us to split long pieces of text into smaller and manageable segments. So here, as we can see in the image, here we have the process transcript, right? So we are going to split that transcript into the multiple chunks. So here we have chunk 1, chunk 2, and chunk 3. So for example, if we have 30 lines of transcript in the process transcript, then we are going to divide that 30 lines among 3 chunks. So each chunk will have 10 lines of transcript. Now you might have question like why we are chunking the transcript, right? So the first reason is the context preservation. So let me give you a scenario that the Yeah, for example, we have the 1,000 lines of transcript, and users ask a question, but for that question we just need 2 lines of transcript to answer that question. So in this case, it's not helpful to send the whole transcript to answer that question. Instead, what we do, we will send only the relevant transcript along with the question to answer that question. So in this way, it will also provide the accurate answers. The other reason is the context window limit. So yesterday I tried asking 10,000 words to the chat gpt, and here's the response I got from it. So here's the message that, like, the message you submitted was too long, please reload the conversation and something short, right? So if we plug in the whole transcript along with the question, so that might be the scenario. So what we'll do, we will just extract the relevant transcript which will be helpful for answering that question. Now, let's see how chunking works. So, there are mainly two chunking techniques that are widely used. So, the one is character based splitting, and another is recursive character splitting. So, what is character based splitting? So, in character based splitting, we need to define the chunk size, like how many characters we want in the single chunk. So, for example, if you mention, like, I want only 100 characters, so once you get the 100 characters, that will be your first chunk. Then other 100 characters will be the second chunk, right? But the in recursive character splitter, we are we will give these separators in order to split. For example, you give /n to separate the word. So what it will do, first it will try to split the text on /n, and then it will check the, like, what's the size of that chunk. If the size of that chunk is greater than that chunk size, it will again try to split it. So it's like a recursive manner. So here, as we can see in the image, consider this as our whole transcript. So getting this, we are going to divide the transcript into the multiple chunks. So here, for each chunk, we have a different colors. So for chunk one, it's of blue color, and it's one of the most important, right? So this is the first chunk, and this is our second chunk. So now let's understand, like, what is chunk overlap. So chunk overlap is the overlap between the adjacent chunks. So here, as we can see, the NT is present in chunk 1 as well as in the chunk 2, right? So NT is the chunk overlap, means here the chunk overlap size is 2, means the last two characters of chunk 1 and the first two characters of chunk 2 will get overlap. Now, after chunking of the transcript, we will embed the transcript. So, what is embedding? So, embedding is the process of converting data into numerical vectors. So, here, as we can see, here we have our data. Now, we are converting that to the numerical vector like this. So, you might have questioned that why numerical vectors, right? So, the answer is, like, machine learning models don't understand text, they just understand numbers. So that's why we are converting the text into the numbers. Apart from that, it also helps us to capture semantic meaning. So we can look at this image of word embeddings. So here the word image is converted to the numerical vector, so it's mapped to the 3D vector, right? So, and also for the other words, that is vision, word, language, and process. So as we can see, the vector of vision and the vector of image are together, means the angle between those two vectors is small, and also, like, it indicates that they are similar. So here I have also included one image, that if the angle between vector A and vector B is small, means they might be similar. Then if the angle between vector A and vector B is around 90 degree, we can say, like, it's unrelated. And if the angle is 180 degree, means we can say that, yeah, they are opposite to each other. So in this way, it will also capture the semantic meaning. So here I also included that, like, it convert text into numerical vectors in such a way that similar text are positioned closer together in the vector space. So here the word image and vision are semantically same, so that's why the angle between them is small. Now, after embedding of transcript, we have to store it somewhere, right? So now, at this moment, we are storing the transcript into the Faiss, which is our vector database. So Faiss stands for Facebook AI Similarity Search. That is designed for efficient similarity search and storing of vectors. So here, as we can see in the image, we have the numerical vector, right? So we will store each numerical vector to the vector database. Now, apart from that, Faiss also provide one method, like that is similarity search method, that can that can take query, and the k means, for example, in the similarity search method, you pass the question for which you need to find the relevant data, and along with the k. So what is k? So how many chunks do you want to retrieve from the database? So if you if you set k equals to 3, it will find the 3 relevant chunks from our database for the specific query. Now let's see how similarity search works. So as I already mentioned that we are going to convert our text into the numbers. So here it's a 2D, it's a 2D graph. Here we have the x and y axis. So this is our query vector. So once we get the question from the user, we are going to convert that question to the numerical vector, and here's we map it to the 2D graph, right? And this all are the this all points are the data that we have stored in the vector database. Means you can consider this as a transcript that we have stored in the database. Now, if k equals to 5, so k equals to 5 means it will take the 5 relevant data chunks from the database, or from the vector space. So here, as we can see, the nearest 5 neighbors for this one is this, right? So using this question, it will take this 5 data points which is near to it. Now at this point we will get the user's question. So it's a Q&A workflow, right? So we'll get the user's question at this time, and we will do the similarity search on it. So let me explain you how it works. So here we have a user's question, and here we have the document. So in our case, it's a transcript. So we are going to store the transcript into the database. So here now we have like chunk 1, chunk 2, chunk 3, chunk 4, and so on. So getting the query, we will look upon the database to find the relevant chunks. So here are top k relevant chunks. So after getting the relevant chunks, we will combine it with the query here. So here we have a query and the k relevant chunks to answer this question. So I forgot to mention here. So this is kind of reg. So let's understand what is reg. So reg stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation, which is a technique where information is retrieved from a knowledge source. In our use case, it's a vector database, and combined with a language model to generate accurate responses. So with the user's question, we are going to attach the relevant transcript to answer that question. And also, unlike traditional models, reg doesn't rely solely on pre-trained data. It dynamically retrieves relevant information for each query from the database. Now let's see a real world example, how reg works. So here's the user's question, what is the notice period for employees at XYZ company? And here we have our database, and that database have 3 chunks. That is, XYZ company offers a competitive benefits package. Chunk 2 is the standard notice period for employees is 30 days. Employee and the chunk 3 is employees can access the HR portal for more information, right? So after getting the user's question, we are going to look upon the database to get the relevant chunk. So here we are going to the database. Now we get chunk 2 as the relevant data. So as we can figure it out from the example that for this question, this chunk is useful, right? So we are we are retrieving this chunk 2, and at the end we will combine this question along with the chunk 2 with and then we will send it to the language model to generate the answer. Now yeah, so after getting the relevant transcript, we are sending along with the question to the language model to generate the answer. Now, at the end, we need to design a Q&A prompt, the same as we defined for the summarization prompt, right? So I have explained this thing before, this token in identify, this will tell the language model that this is the beginning of the text. And here we have given the system message as you are an expert assistant providing detailed and accurate answers based on the following video content. Means we are generally saying that you are an expert at answering questions based on the given context, right? And here I have also given some instruction that consistent with the information provided in the video, well organized it, make it easy to understand, right? And Here I have we have a other header ID, that is user. So in this user will gonna provide us the context. So like user will tell like I have this relevant context and this is my question, so answer this question. So here we have a two variables, that is context and question. So we will dynamically fill in the value of context and the question when we get it in the workflow. So this is the whole workflow of our application. So now let's switch to the hands-on lab. So for that, you can go to the cognitive class.ai and search for this guided project, which is AI-powered YouTube summarizer and Q&A tool with RAG and LangChain. Otherwise, you can also type in this URL. Uh, so let me just give it into the chat so it's easy for you to navigate. So let me just do it. So one of my teammate will be sending this link into the chat, and you can click on this link and follow along with me. So let's get started. I will be presenting the another screen. Stop screen. Presenting the another one. Now you might have seen my screen. That is cognitive class.ai. So I would like to take a moment and to introduce cognitive class among you. So it's a edtech platform which will offer courses and guided projects for free. So if you want to learn cutting edge technologies, then I will highly recommend to sign up. So if you already have an account on this, you can sign in, or else you can sign up for this platform. Yeah. So after redirecting to here, I gonna search AI power. I will copy it from the PPT. Yeah. So this is the guided project. So if you haven't enrolled in this guided project, it will give you a button here to enroll in this project. So click on enroll, and yeah, after enrolling it, click on go to class. So it will, yeah, so you will get this kind of screen. So the first instruction is like it's giving the introduction to the cloud IDE. So if you want to go, then you can go it later on. So yeah, I'm just waiting for you guys just to navigate this to the screen, and yeah, we can start in 1 minute. So after getting here, click on launch a project in Cloud IDE. It will ask to send your username and email address to a third party application. So click on OK if you are okay with that. So yeah, it will take a couple of seconds to load the cloud environment. So this is the basic interface of Cloud IDE. So here you have multiple functionalities. So like here on the left side, you will be having the instruction which you need to follow along with the guided project. And on the right side, we have the IDE. So we can code it over here and install libraries. So apart from that, it also have cool features like you can ask style, like you can use this assistant to help you with the lab, and here's other functionalities. So this is the introduction page for this guided project, and it also have this symbol at the bottom. So in order to navigate to the next screen, click on this button. So the first thing is like we are going to set up the virtual environment. So we are doing it because we need to avoid conflicts between the dependencies of libraries, right? So here we are copying it. I'll be going to paste it over here in the terminal. So like at the bottom we have a terminal. So copy this code to create the virtual environment and click on enter. So it will create the virtual environment and switch us to that environment. Now here we'll be installing the prerequisite libraries, means the libraries we need for this application. So you can copy it from here and same paste it. It will take some time, like it will take a couple of seconds to install the libraries in the environment. So it's doing it. Till then you can it's running in the background, so till that you can go to the next screen. And here our application gets started, how we are building it. So first of all we need to create a ytbot.py in which we are going to code. So you can click on the open ytbot.py, which will create the file for you. So I've clicked on it. So yeah, the ytbot.py is created. After the creation of it, the first important thing is to import the libraries that we have installed. So these are all the libraries which we are going to use in this application. So if you want to deep dive, like what are the libraries we are using, so you can go through this project afterwards, this session, because like it's on the cognitive class and it's accessible anywhere. So yeah, you can go through this, and yeah, if you want to deep dive. So I'm copying it over here, pasting it over here. So so this is the code for install, like importing the required libraries. Then the first step is to extract the YouTube transcripts. So in order to do that, we are going to create a function that is get underscore video underscore id, which will take the URL. So like to fetch the transcript, we need a URL. So we are passing URL over here, and we are extracting the video ID from it. So as I already mentioned before, so like we need video ID in order to fetch the transcript. So here we are using the regex to extract the video ID from it. So now let's see the user details for that. So this is the sample URL, that is https www.youtube.com, and we are passing it over the get underscore video underscore ID function. So after passing to that function, we will get the video ID from it. So in this case, this is the video ID, right? So in the output, we will get this. So let me copy this code. It's over here. So we are just using the normal regex to search the video ID from the URL. Now the next step is to fetch the transcript. So till this point we get the video ID from the URL, right? So now we will use that video ID with YouTube transcript API to fetch the transcript. So here we have defined the function that is get underscore transcript, which will take the URL. So inside this function, what we are doing, we are first extracting the video ID using this function which we have defined just before. And using the YouTube transcript API, we will use list underscore transcript function. So what this function will do? So using this function, using this method, we will get the list of the transcript available for that video, right? So after getting the transcript, we will iterate over each transcript, and we will know, we will check what's the language code for the transcript, because like for now, this application only works for the English transcript. So that's why we are checking that if the language code is English, then only go inside it. And like YouTube also have a feature that it generates it automatically generates a caption for the video, right? So there might be a possibility that video have a manual transcript and as well as the automated transcript. So here we are using, like, if t dot is generated, means if it's a automated caption, we are going to fetch it and store it into the transcript variable. Now let's see the usage of it. So here's the URL. For this URL, I want the transcript. So I will call this function passing this URL, and then I'm printing this the output of this transcript. So this will be the output of the transcript. So as we already discussed that it will be the list of the dictionaries. So here is our raw transcript. Now let me copy this code over here and paste it. Good, it's good. Now moving to the next stage. Now after extraction of the transcript, we need to process it, right? As I already explained, like garbage in equals to garbage out. So here what we are doing, like this is the structure of the raw transcript that have three keys, that is text, start, and duration. So out of this we are just extracting the text and start. So for that we have defined a process function which will take the process transcript, which will take the raw transcript and convert it to the process one. So after getting that, we will iterate over the transcript and fetch, like it's a, as I mentioned, like it's a dictionary, so we can access that text and start using the key. So here we are accepting the text and start. So and at the end we will append it to the final string, that is text, and we will return it from here. So let's see the example usage of it. So for example, this is the raw transcript which we need to process. So we will send this transcript to the process function, and now let's see the output of formatted transcript. So we have passed this transcript to this process function, and this will be the output. So as we have seen that like we are just going to take the text and start. So this will be our final output. Then we need to chunk the transcript. So for QA and A, I have explained like why we need to chunk the transcript. So for that we need to, like we are going to use recursive character splitter. So it's from LangChain. So here we have defined a function that is chunk transcript, which will take the process transcript, means the transcript which we have already processed. It will also take the chunk size and chunk overlap. So the default parameter for chunk size is 200 and the overlap is 20. So chunk size means how many characters we want for each chunk, and what's the like what's the size of the overlap we want between each chunk. So in this function, we are going to uh, take this recursive, like we are going to instantiate this object recursive character text splitter by mentioning the chunk size and chunk overlap, and then on top of that we will call the split underscore text function. So what it will do, it will take that text and split it into the multiple chunks, and then it will return that chunk. So now let's see the example usage for that. So let's, for example, this is the process transcript that we got from the previous stage. Now we will send this transcript to the chunk underscore transcript function, and let's see like what's the output of it. So here as we see, it's a single string, but now in the output we have a list of two strings. So we have splitted one single text into two strings. Now let me copy this code. Yeah, I think like I forgot to add this code in this as well. So yeah, I included this code, like I forgot to paste the process function here. So after the chunking of the transcript, we are going to set up the Watson X model. So in order to set up the Watson X model, we need some API credentials and client in order to set it up. So for this, like we are defining the setup underscore credentials function. In that we have a parameter that is model underscore ID. So here we are using Llama 3.2 for our use case, right? So here we need to mention the name of the model. Then we are just setting up the credentials using this URL. So like you don't need to take care of the URLs and APIs, as thanks to the cognitive class. So they have the preset environment for Watson X, so we can use that directly. So here we are just defining the credentials API client, and then we will define the parameter. So this parameter will help us to generate the text from the LLM. So here we are returning the gen params equals to dot decoding method as greedy, means which token you like, you give it as an output, and the maximum tokens means how many tokens I do need to generate for my answer. So the maximum token is 900, means a language model is going to, like, the maximum output that a language model will give is 900. And then at the end we are initialize the Watson X LLM, because like as we are using the LLM from the Watson X, so here we have an object of Watson X LLM in which we are specifying the model ID, URL, project ID, and the parameters in order to generate the uh, output. So let me copy paste these things here. uh, Copy that, copying the defined parameters, initialize Watson X LLM. Yeah, now let's go to the next stage. So the next stage is to do embedding and the similarity search. So in this stage we are going to convert text into numbers, right? So in order to convert the text into the numbers, we also need one machine learning model which will map each text to the number. So for that we are going to use IBM's own embedding model, that is IBM Slate 30 million model, which will help us to convert the text into numbers. So here we are going to set up the embedding model. So here we are initiating the Watson X embeddings and providing the model ID, means model name here, that we are going to use IBM Slate 30 million model, and specifying the URL and credential, like URL and project ID for this one. So this function will return the embedding model which we are going to use. Now let's copy it, paste it over here. Now the next step is to implement Faiss for similarity search. So in this stage, we are going to initialize the Faiss database, and we are going to store that embeddings into the database. So here we are creating a function that is create underscore Faiss underscore index, where we are passing the chunks, means it's a list of the text and the embedding model, which will help us to convert the text to the numbers. So Faiss have one method that is from text, which will take the list of the text and the embedding model. So what it will do, so behind the scenes, it will take the each text from the list and convert it to the numbers using this embedding model. Then, for example, like just to explain you, so I have included the performing similarity search, like how we are going to fetch the relevant data from the database. So here we are creating a function that is perform similarity search, which will take the database, that is Faiss underscore index, and the query for which we need to find the relevant data. And here we are also mentioning k equals to 3, that is the default value. So Faiss index, like Faiss have this method that is similarity search, which will take that query and k. So for this query, we are finding the similar, like relevant data from the database. Let me also paste this snippets over here. Now let's moving to the next stage. So here we are defining the prompt template for summarization. So like we need to tell to the LLM, like to the language model, that we need to summarize this transcript, right? So in order to do that, we need to define the prompt template. So we have created a create summary prompt, which will return the prompt template for the summary. So here we have one variable that is templates, and this is the prompt template which I have explained in the slides. So here we are defining that, and this is the function from the LangChain, which will help us to define and plug in the dynamic values over here. So here we have the input variables equals to transcript, right? Means we can able to change this transcript dynamically. Other of rest of the them, like rest of this sentence, will be static, but we can able to change this transcript, which we have defined over here. Then at the end we need to instantiate the LLM chain for summarization. So what this LLM chain, so like after getting the process transcript, we will put that transcript into the prompt template, and then at the end we will send the final prompt to the language model to generate the summary. So here we have a create summary chain, which will take the language model for summarizing the transcript. And here's the prompt. So LangChain have this method, that is LLM chain, which takes the language model along with the prompt. And here we have set verbose equals to true. It means like it will also show us what is going behind the scenes. So if you want to learn something, I will suggest like just to keep verbose equals to true, so we'll able to get to know like what's going behind the scenes. So from here we are returning the LLM chain. So let me copy paste it. And if you think like if I'm going over this code very fast, don't worry, you have a time after this session, you can go through it, and do reach out to me on LinkedIn or anywhere, so I will clear that question. Now I think, yeah, we have already discussed this thing like face index. We are using similarity search on top of that, so I'm skipping that for now. And now we are creating the prompt template for QA, like for question answer, right? So here we have a function that is create QA prompt template, and in the same way as summarization, we have this variable, and we are storing that prompt template in this one. And then we are initializing the prompt template for Q and A. So here the input variables is context and question, means we can able to change this variable context and question dynamically. The rest of them will be the static. And at the end we will be returning this prompt template. Now I have also included the example usage over here. So here we have called this create QA prompt template, which will return the prompt template for QA to us. And for example, the context is this video explains the fundamentals of quantum physics, and the question is what are the key principles discussed in the video, right? So these are the two variables which we can change dynamically into the prompt template. So let's format that prompt template with this variables, and let's see how our final prompt will look like. So this is the final prompt. This all are the static string that we have defined. But here relevant video context, this is the dynamic one, because as we are given the context as this video explains the fundamentals of quantum physics, so it will be plugged over here, and question will be plugged over here, like what are the key principles discussed in the video. Then let me copy the code and paste it over here. Yeah. Now the last step is to set up the Q&A LLM chain, as we already did for the summarization. So in order to do that, we also going to take the language model and prompt template. So once we get the question and the context, we will put that, like we will fit that context and the question in the prompt template, and then we will send that prompt to the language model in order to answer the question. So let me copy paste it. Then this is the I think we are generating the answer using the language model. So now let's see. So here we have created a function generate answer, which will take the question, means what question the user is asking. Then we are also taking the database, because like from database we are going to fetch the relevant data. And QA chain means the one we have built in the previous step. So here we are calling the retrieve function. So what retrieve function will do? Retrieve will take that question in the vector database. So using that question, it will find the relevant chunks out of the database and store it in the relevant context. Now after getting the relevant context, in using QA chain, we will call the predict function and passing the context as the relevant context that we found from the previous step and the question itself. So it will try like the final prompt will look like this is my question, this is the relevant context, please answer the question. So this function will help us to generate the answer. So I copied it, paste it over here. Now we have to also create a function for summarizing the video, right? So this is the function, which is, I guess, like I can say that it's a main function for summarizing the video, which will compile all the steps which we are doing. So here we have a function that is summarize video, which will take the URL, means it will take the YouTube video URL which we need to summarize. So after getting the URL, we will first see that if if video URL is none or not. If it's not none, we are going to get the transcript using that URL. After getting the transcript, we are processing the transcript. Then after processing of transcript, we are going to set the model, because as we are using the language model from Watson X, we are setting the credentials in order to use that language model from here. Then we are initializing the language model, and the step 3 is to create the summary prompt, means summarize, like you are expert at summarizing the content, and uh, like that. And here's a summary chain, means we will pass the language model and the summary prompt itself, and it will try to answer our question based on that. And then we were generating the video summary using the dot run function. So it's a summary chain. On top of that, we are calling the run function, which will have the transcript, means we are sending the transcript to that prompt, and at the end we'll be getting our summary. So let me copy it from here. Let me paste it. Then the next step is to answer the user's question. So as we have already made a function for summarization, now it's time for building a function for answering the user's question. So in answering the user's question, we need the URL, like for which URL you want to ask the question, and what's the user's question, like what do you want learn from the video. So in that, we are first checking that if we already have a process transcript or not. If we don't have the process transcript, we will check for URLs, so like if the URL is none or not. If it's not none, we are going to get the transcript, again process it, and then after processing of transcript, in order to perform Q&A, we are going to chunk the transcript. So using this function, we are going to chunk the transcript. Then we are again uh, setting the credentials for the language model, because in this workflow we are also using the llama. So here we are initializing the Watson XLM. Then we have to set up the embedding model, because like in Q&A workflow, we need to convert the text into the numbers, right? So we need to use this embedding model. So here we have set up the embedding model, and then we have to create the database. So like the database which will store the transcript of our URL. Then at the end, we are setting up the QA prompt template and creating the QA chain. And then at the end, we are generating the answer. Means in generate underscore answer, we are passing the user's question. The Faiss index means this database will be used to get the relevant data out of it, and with the QA chain on which we are going to call the run function. So yeah, at the end, we'll be getting the answer. So let me paste it over here. Now the last step is to set up the Gradio interface, because like we need to test our application, right? So in order to do that, we are going to use Gradio. So it's very simple and easy to build an application. So here we have I have imported Gradio as GR, so you can consider this GR as Gradio. So as I have already seen the output of the application, so at the top we have the YouTube video URL, means it's a placeholder to put the URL inside it. So using .textbox function, we can write that as YouTube video URL, and the placeholder will be like enter the YouTube video URL. Then it's same for the video summary. Ask a question about the video, answer to your question. The one thing is different is like here we have mentioned the lines equals to 5. It means the placeholder, like the text box for the summary output, will be bigger as compared to the video URL. And then we are defining the button with the help of gr.button, that is summarize the video, ask a question. So here we have two buttons, and at the end we'll have the transcript status, that is also a text box. And once here we have function whenever we click on the summarize button, so we have defined like what to do after we clicked on this function. So after clicking on this function, we are calling this summarize underscore video, and the input is this video URL. And for question button, we are passing the answer question and along with the video URL and question output, because like in that we also need the user's question to answer it, right? So this is the code. Now this is the complete code reference. So if you miss copy pasting any of the code snippets, no worry, you can do one thing. You can do Control A, erase this one, and we have the final code over here. So you can just copy it and paste it over here. So this will be the final code of our application. Let me save it. Now at the now we will run this application using the Python command. So let me copy it, running the ytbot py. Let's hope it work. So yeah, and now it's saying that it's live. We can go on the port 7860 in order to access the application. So go to the next step. Here we have a button to launch the application. So click on launch application. Oh, no worries. If you also occur, like if you also encounter this error, no problem. You can refresh it and you will get the output. So yeah, so in order to, like, you can also copy this URL and paste it into the browser if you want to look in the bigger size. So yeah, so here's the UI. Like, this is the final application that we have built during this session. So let's try. So let me ask a question. So for this, I'm going to take this first video, that is IBM interview experience. So let me take the video ID from it, like take the URL for that. And yeah, so now I'm pasting the YouTube URL. So it's a video for an IBM, like it's a interview experience for the IBM. So let's try to summarize the video. So behind, like if you want to see like what is going on behind the scene, you can also go here into the terminal. So this is the whole transcript that we have fetched using the YouTube transcript API. So this like we are getting this because like we have set verbose equals to true. So yeah, so this is the final summary that we get from the video. Like the speaker T says her experience of being selected in IBM through a coding and interview process. So yeah, this is the whole summary of that video. Now try asking a question like how many rounds were there in the interview? How many rounds were there? So let us try to ask the question. You can go here, you can see like what is going behind the scenes. Like this is the relevant data that we got from the database, and this is the whole prompt that we are sending to the language model. So here we got the answer that there were 3 rounds in the interview process. That is one coding round, a technical round, and the third one is managerial round. So in this case, like if you just want to know like how many rounds were there, you don't need to watch the video like that is of 10 minutes. So this will, like in this way, it will help you to save the time. Apart from that, let's try it with the another video. So as you might know that yesterday Samsung Galaxy S25 launched, so I'm going to try it with that video. So I have grabbed the URL for that, pasting it over here, asking them to summarize it for me. Yeah, so here we get the summary that the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra is a significant upgrade over its predecessor, with a sleeker, neater, and better design phone, and so on. So let me try to ask a question. Like I don't have a time to go through the summary, so I will try asking the question. So I will ask like what are the features of S25 phone. Let me try asking a question. So here we get the answer like based on the video content. The S25 have Snapdragon 8 Elite processor. It have substantial design upgrade. They also upgraded the UI, that is one UI 7 software. So in this way we can use this Q&A, like we can use this ask a question functionality to quickly get the answers. So yeah, so that's the demo for today. And I'm sorry, like I have to go very fast to the code. I'm not able to like explain the whole code. But yeah, if you have any question, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer it. Let me get back to the slides. Yeah, so we have completed the workshop. Congratulations for following me till this point. And yeah, so now start experimenting and build your own Gen AI application. So like in this way, you can use RAG with any kind of use case, because like for me, I have used it with the YouTube. You can use it with the Instagram or any other social media to do that. And I would like to say thanks to the contributors, Joseph, Vicky, and Karan, for helping me throughout the project, and also to the Bhuvan for amazing visuals. So now we are jumping to the Q&A session. So I'm open to ready, or like I'm open to answer all the questions. So we have one question from Sahil Sharma, that is like which LLM model is used in this project. So we are using Llama 3.2 for this application. And yeah, if you want to use another language model, then yeah, we can, like we are able to. It's pretty most flexible. So like if you want to use another language model, you can. So yeah, it's open. So I'm waiting for the question from the attendees. Like if they have any questions, I'm here to answer them. Okay, I think all are good. So all looks good. So yeah, so it's been an honor to present this talk in front of you. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.